April is Autism Awareness Month. Today is Autism Awareness Day. So please welcome to speak about that and other topics, Jeremy.
Hello, everybody. Wow, this is very nice. I don't even have to yell. So I just wanted to talk quickly to open up Autism Awareness / Acceptance Month. As many of you probably know, I'm autistic myself, and I'm a professional advocate. I do everything from tutoring to mentoring to running programs, designing programs, and professional speaking. Today I wanted to quickly share some words that I shared a few days ago at the Danbury Public Library in honor of their 6th annual Autism Acceptance and Awareness Ceremony, as they opened their first sensory room in the Danbury Public Library. The first thing that I kind of want to start with is when we're talking about Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, I think we sometimes lose sight of how broad autism is. It's much easier for us to keep our minds open and to remember that this is gray when it's not. We're supposed to be celebrating autistic individuals. So who is autistic? Who are we celebrating? And I think that becomes a real problem as we go on because of questions that I've been asked many times, even in April. I am asked fairly repeatedly if I'm sure I'm autistic, if I'm sure that they diagnosed me correctly. And to that, I have to say, this that you guys are all seeing is me in my element. This is where I thrive most. This is where I have the most confidence. I have the most instincts to go along with it. Do not let one side of an autistic person's skill set convince you that you understand them as a person. Learning I was autistic was one of the most important things I ever did. And it wasn't the moment where I learned that the word autism applied to me. What really happened that blew me away was after I was diagnosed at 5, after my parents tried to get me services at 7, after I understood that I was different by 12, and after I realized that I had autism by 18, I never got it. And then I went to college and wrote a paper on autism. And I had a moment. I had an epiphany. That's why I do that. That's why I do that. Maybe that's why I do that. And that moment of self-discovery was so crucial to me. It allowed for self-understanding. It gave me the confidence to try to figure out how I work. It let me know that I'm not just this mass of jumbled nonsense. There are people who think like I do, who have similar things that I do, that I can learn from. And when I learned that, it kind of blew me away. Because in my mind, autism had always been something that you either show or you don't. That it's something I had to give into or not. And when I realized that it was innate to me, and that being as effective as I am in this environment does not take away from the difficulties that I have outside of it. And that took a lot. It took a lot of cultivating power, combating that comes from growing up autistic. I like to say that as autistic individuals, we are disempowered routinely throughout our lives. As kids, as all kids, we get talked over. Our opinions aren't taken seriously. But even as adults, we can tell when people are talking about us, or around us, or to us like we're children. And people will continue to underestimate us. And when people underestimate us, we need to have that faith in ourselves. When people ask me, are you sure you're autistic? I need to be confident that I do know myself, and one person's random question isn't going to change that. We can't underestimate autistic individuals. And I know that we will because I still underestimate autistic individuals. And I've been doing this for 10 years and am autistic. One of my friends once told me something that blew my mind, and I think got across so effectively how much we underestimate autistic individuals just based on the parts of them that we see and what we assume the rest to be. One of the main signifiers that people often see when they're judging what kind of autism somebody has, with giant air quotes, is their verbal communication. Are they verbal or are they non-verbal? And in my experience, this is nearly useless of a distinction. Because what it does is it puts everything, all the focus on if they can communicate things. And everything we know is facilitated through what we can communicate. So if we can't communicate, you don't know what we know. My friend who was nonverbal or didn't fully comprehend language until the age of 16 once told me that the people around them thought they developed language at the age of 12. Because by the age of 12, they knew how to trick the people around them into giving the answers that they wanted so they didn't have to deal with this process anymore. Do not underestimate autistic individuals. When the world deals us a bad hand, we are going to fight back. But that is not the same as empowerment. Because when we fight back, we actually give up. We let the world pass us by. We don't have any reasonable effect on the world. The things we try to do never turn out the way we want. The things we put out the world never get the responses or the reactions that we're looking for. We don't get it. So why don't we just stop? When I was in school, when I was younger, I had an issue with a lot of my teachers because I really liked learning. And that might seem like a weird issue to have. But I really liked learning, and I had autism and a learning disability. And what this meant is I didn't learn the same as the other kids. So I asked a lot of questions, tried to get clarifications, tried to really engage with the material because I enjoyed it. And on numerous occasions, including one time to my parents directly, the teachers complained about me purposefully misunderstanding the information and causing unneeded frustration and asking pointless questions. They thought I was being disruptive. And when that happened, I had to make a decision. I looked around at when I asked questions, and I saw the kids looking at me weird. I saw the teacher getting angry. I felt different that I was the only one who had to ask this question. So I stopped asking. But the problem with that is that's how I learned. So I stopped learning at the same time. And as shown with my friend, we can get by. We can figure out ways to give people exactly what they need so they'll get off our backs. But that does not mean we are being given all the tools and empowerment that we need to succeed. When I stopped asking questions, that's just one in a long pattern of decisions that were, I guess it's easier to just blend in and get through it. And to fix that, we have to cultivate power in autistic individuals. How do we do that? Well, we cultivate power by empowering them to make their own decisions. Hello. Okay. Everything okay? We have to empower them to make their own decisions. When I talk about being disempowered, it's a feeling that we have no reasonable effect on the world. There's nothing we can do to get the results we want. And even though it's valid that we feel that way, we are wrong. We have a lot more power than we let on. We have a lot more power to do the things we want to do. I may not have realized how music and autism were going to fit into my life, but I knew that I wanted to fit them into my life. So I made decisions like joining my college radio station, like getting involved in autism research through video editing, things that just got me closer to the things I loved, that made me feel like maybe I could carve out a path. And I did. That kind of support, not only internally that I need to feel like I can do these things, but people around us, if you want to support autistic individuals, we have to unpack all the baggage that comes with that disempowerment. That means discussing. That means giving us agency. It means providing us agency when you can, especially as a parent. When a child or an autistic individual says, this is what I want, this is what I need, take them seriously. Make sure they know that their opinion is valued, and it will not only valued in some general sense, it will affect what happens because it matters to the decisions. These are little things, but these are what we have to do because through this we can create empowerment, and through that We can create unique types of success. We can create a world where autistic individuals feel they can engage with the world on their own terms. They don't have to have a relationship with education like everyone else. They don't have to have romantic relationships or social relationships like everybody else. They are empowered to live boldly and bravely and carve out their own path. And we all know this is what we want. All of us here want a world that is more inclusive and accepting of autistic people. But we are not going to get there if neurotypical individuals are only the ones leading this. If neurotypical individuals are simply talking about a different way to work with autistic individuals, we're just stuck on a different train track going in a similar direction with no room to explore. We need that room to explore. We need to be empowered to do it ourselves. If we really want the world that I know we all want here for autistic individuals, you have to empower us as autistic individuals to build it. And then you'll see, we will. Thank you. Ooh. Sorry about my hair there.